Hello, welcome to Moon Day Dojo. Yep, done. Hey, True, I see you driving.
No, how's everybody?
Oh, yeah, five and 5 on 5. How are you?
I am mobile. This is my office. Welcome to my office. This is where I go about my business, my father's business.
A nice business.
Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Grateful to be here. Yeah, definitely.
I truly am grateful to be on this planet right now to experience this. It's
Amazing times.
it's intense. It
Yeah,
is amazing, isn't it?
yeah, sure is. Fascinating. Somebody once said fascination is the bridge to love. I guess I'm in love.
I like that. I'm in love, and it's so non-personal. It's fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Woohoo! Everywhere you look, there you are. Could be a nightmare, could be like a dream. Life is but a dream. Do-do-do.
shaboom, shaboom. Yeah,
Shaboom. I think we're ready to go. I think we got a good group, Lori.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's go, let's go. Okay, Dojo.
right, right.
Welcome to Dojo. And it is, I don't know what number, I think it's 2.2 or something like that. But it's 5/5, 2025. So it's two fives plus a nine. So we're like good to go. I'm just going to give you the moon, where we are moon wise. We're in the waxing gibbous moon, the first quarter moon. So we're 7 days, that magical number, from that full moon, which is going to be what's that name of that ceremony? Oh gosh. Anyhow, I'll remember it in a minute. But
The flower moon
so
coming up.
we sack moon.
Scorpio too.
Right.
Mhm.
But today we're in the Leo. And it's like this heart, like, can your heart get any bigger? Can it crack open? Can you allow 100% destruction and 100% reconstruction? So it's kind of like when you think about it, it's just 50-50. But I think you got to open up wider to let it all be exposed. So that's what I'm kind of feeling because, in this heart, it's also this circulation. I'm getting a lot of stuff going on with you can hear my upgrades to my sinuses. And I'm getting a lot of clearing and it's like whatever. I haven't had allergies in years, but after my thing that I was shared last week, I realized I put myself on the mat. I did. And I've been on the mat all week. So if no one has any kind of topics, I'm going to put myself back on the mat because it was a good mat to be on because it was a deep dive. So anyhow, after last week, I ended up getting this upgrade to my immune system, and it's kick-ass. I don't sound great, and I might have to mute occasionally if I have a coughing jag, and I don't think I will have one in the midst of this, but one never knows. So I'm gonna go on and continue on to tell you the story of the construct. It's like this: everybody wants construction, but nobody wants the destruction. And so it's like you can't care if someone likes you or doesn't like you. You got to walk in between. So it's like when you're having this destructive or breaking down or you're mulching stuff, it hurts like hell, but it's part of the process. And the more that you resist, the more it persists. So I stopped resisting, and it showed up in the most magical ways. Every single person that's been in my life, I've kind of put in these little boxes because either they approved of me or they didn't approve of me. And the ones that approved of me, I couldn't even hear their positive feedback. I couldn't even receive it. And then I was always looking for the one that couldn't see me. So if I were to stay, if I would be here with James, I'd be looking for James' approval, right? Because that's my core thing in my cells of my DNA. So when it went haunting me, it haunted me all week. And it showed me these places where I have left these little gems of the jewel of a nine has all of the numbers in it. I mean, it's a magic number. And we're in this 9 year. And of course, I'm seeing everyone around me getting their ass kicked. And of course, I'm not kicked, but really like upgraded. I would say it's upgrade time. It's like you have to really get out of that place where you're lost yourself on the playground. You forgot you were on the playground. And then you're looking for like what? To be the healer to help people. And you're like, I mean, that's like absolutely insane. So I got myself, held myself, and I said, this is the month of May, and this is the Divine Feminine's month. It's like a lot to do with new growth, birth of the flowers and the pollination, and everything's blooming. And, it's like, how do you bloom? You got to be. There's no agenda. Gender. There's no agenda. You have to not gender. You got to be. So how do you be? You got to play. How do you play if you're taking it too serious? So I started like, stretching into that. I started dancing into that. I started like, like getting really comfortable being uncomfortable, and then going into places where when you're a beyonder, you can see, and you can have a tendency when you see to judge other people for being right exactly where they need to be. I hope that made sense, because I'm just kind of like seeing that just because you see doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah. Lori, I don't want to stop you.
But no, I'm just riffing.
I'm enjoying this.
Riffing.
Yeah, and also I don't want to miss an opportunity to pull something out of what you just said, because there's just a lot there. So look at this as just a pause before you keep going. When we construct, this is such a beautiful thing that we do. I do it with my YouTube comments. I'll get 10 comments of, "Oh, this video is great," and then I get one, "Why are you such a piece of shit, you piece of shit?" And then I'm just like, and you could look at that as a neurosis, and I have. You could look at that as a fault, and I have. But hearing you say it, I realize how constructively sincere it is. You and I are looking for a constant feedback that we are progressing and that we are improving. And the only way we would be able to see that feedback is to find someone that doesn't like us and prove them wrong. Whether we prove them wrong to ourselves or to them, it doesn't matter. But to squash the every bit of pessimism gives us an opportunity to squash it. And the opportunity to squash it is a very heavy quenching of thirst that we have to always feel as if we're improving, or to always feel that we're progressing and growing. And and I'm probably saying this more about myself, when I look at it now with more compassion, I don't look at it as a neurosis. I see it as an opportunity for me to constantly be hungry hippoing the world for an opportunity to take credit for something that, in a way, I'm actually being greedy and selfish with the moment itself, with the interaction itself, with The opportunity to let someone be disappointed in us, even if they're wrong. The opportunity to watch that we've been missed over, we've been skipped over, and to preserve that, to preserve that flower, not to fix it, not to change it, not to be selfish about it, but to say, oh, look, it's Friday. I've been missed over this afternoon. I'll be going to the library next, thinking about Tom Sawyer today. It's just a very important part of the day. It's an important part versus us going, ha 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 ha. Yes, someone doubts me. They think that my shirt is not tucked in. Well, I have invented a fashion where this is actually correct. And I will show them the rules that I wrote down 3 years ago. And I will take those rules that I clearly wrote 3 years ago and I will revisit them and I will remember, hey, I said this clearly. And the entire thing is us having a dance with ourselves, having a very self-centered and I like selfish, but a very self-centered, self-centric moment. And we're sucking the otherness out of the room because we see the opportunity to have that appetite quenched. This is 100,000% us having a fetish for thinking we are not enough. It is 100,000% a masturbatorial act that I practice way too much. And I will do it today. I probably did it 3 minutes ago. In fact, wait, oh, I'm doing it now. I'm calling it that because I want to understand it as a butt crack moment that is beautiful, important, crucial, and a butt crack too. It's all those things at once. And I don't know how much of this even relates to you, Lori. It really is an opportunity to take what you said. And as I'm listening, I'm realizing these things that I've never kind of realized before. So there's that. Thank you.
Thank you, James. It did totally resonate in the way of a fetish and it's like the fetish is part of the master game designer's program that you set up for yourself to wake up in this thing. So it's kind of like it'd be boring if you didn't have the game to play. So we just take it real serious. Hey, Renee, your hand is up. I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
My hand is up. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
going along with what you were discussing about how, you're not taking you don't need approval like you used to. You're actually looking for it within yourself. And when that starts to happen, you just create a huge freaking smoke screen because you start, running in place and you just get all this energy worked up, right? And you see who's still there afterwards, like who's still here. I'm here like stomping my beat, and it could be a really interesting window to see who maybe has been doubting you from the get-go, but played the game just right to kind of still be in your energy field. And this last month, this April, was a big reveal for me, like who's actually has my back and who doesn't have my back. And I'm very generous. I really like people. I really do. And I like to think of the best of them. And they've been perfectly who they needed to be for me. But at the same time, like I was discounting myself by doubting myself and what I bring to the table. So like you, it just stirred up a huge amount of destruction, lots of destruction. But within that destruction, now I have a new place to rebuild. So I'm just so glad that I made it back through those really portal times that I masterfully set up for myself to experience. Really went down there, really zetetic. Again, another conversation for maybe a smaller space, but just the opportunity we have to go on vision quest or be quantumly raptured is in the field. So I was just very fortunate that I had people who really cared about me, you know what I mean? And were there to support me. And I had the wherewithal to have, like, I have a business, I have a house, I have all these things that like make it sound like I'm an upstanding citizen of this place, right? But meanwhile, I can just go off completely off the page and into another scene where people are like, is she okay? But that's ancestral That's ancestral work. And I've been doing some deep ancestral work, and it goes deeper, everybody. And when you're 56, you got some people to work with if you're still around, and you've got a lot of ancestors, especially me being raised Mormon. So there's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that I'm putting together to find my piece in it. So to hear that you, Lori, are just kind of like reinvigorating your whole system, your whole immune system, makes a lot of sense. That it is that big of a shift that we're going through. And half the time we don't even know what we're doing, but we've planted a seed somewhere, or our ancestors have, like, this will happen at this moment. The Pope will die, and so will you in a way, Renee. You will die, a part of you will die. I'm like, wait, what? Like, how that was synced up. It's just a beautiful coincidence. But I have a lot of other hands up. Thank you for bringing this to the table, Lori. But great stuff. Good revising, everybody. I think we're revisioning where we've come from and where we can revision it now from where we stand now with a different altitude and a different attitude. That's what I got. Thanks a lot.
Wow, Renee, I really related to the ancestral part, because as I tapped into this experience and not playing a victim in it. I mean, when you really put yourself on that dojo mat and you claim it, it's the biggest gift of power behind the fuel pack. And I saw that in that every cell that was lined up with my ancestry was in that entitlement of being acknowledged and recognized, and to have written in the script and not be was like masterful, because it never would have been being fed by being seen or acknowledged. So it's a tricky one to get, but I'm going to say, like, we have more hands up, and I'm excited. I think, Drew, you're next. And then we have Mary Jo, and then Yesenia.
Hey,
okay. When James is talking about the masturbatorial act, what it was, I had an experience of this yesterday. I live with somebody who has astounding powers of observation, has elements of OCD, self-admittedly, and was raised by somebody who was relentless when it came to house cleaning, literally a white glove type of thing when Shannon was a kid. And so I live with this, and I have every time that I say, okay, I'm ready to do.
Hang on one second, Drew. You're having like a breakup, and I'm having a hard time understanding you. I don't know if you're on a speakerphone, or maybe you could if you could repeat it. I think it's really important. I don't want to miss anything.
Okay. Let me take myself off the speaker here.
Is that better?
Okay, talk.
Okay.
That's good.
Anyway, house cleaning is a stressful thing every week, because of not the pressure or the expectations imposed from another, but the expectations I impose on myself from living up to this standard, because I want things to be okay for my partner. And I'm the kind of guy, my favorite character in Peanuts was Pigpen. Okay, so I'm kind of like what I'm saying is I'm like the polar opposite. I don't see the things that are seen by the other. And so it's very stressful for me. And I get very frustrated when I miss stuff. And that's when the self-talk kicks in. And then that only compounds the situational pressure, let's say, because then Shannon will go, well, your energy here is just like, I have to leave. So I'm like, it's like a double whammy I'm putting myself through. And so at some point, what I've learned to do is just center myself and go, okay, this is who I am. This is what needs to be done. Let's refocus and let's learn something from this. Okay, where am I missing this? What do I need to do? Oh, maybe I need to clean out the filter of the vacuum cleaner. So if I can just stay in the moment instead of beating myself up and going, I wish, Shannon would just lighten up, I can learn new things as I go. And my cleaning process has improved over the last couple of years once I started to kind of witness for myself. So that's all I got.
Oh, that was pretty cool. I really relate to the living. I think living in a relationship as getting to see who you are and acknowledging the other person and really staying true to yourself. So I'm going to go back to the construction and destruction mode. And I'm looking at, if you can't stay neutral, you can't stay. And I was having a hard time being neutral in any aspect of in my own cell. I couldn't be neutral. So imagine trying to be in a relationship with someone. I had to look at every single relationship I had. I was looking on the outside, trying to get a comfort on my inside. And nobody can do that for you. So it's like you're finding the symbiosis within a permeable membrane. And then you have other people, these little floating things, and we're trying to manage comfort levels in floating things. And it was like that level of grief I can feel it freeing now, was freeing myself up to love myself. That was even part of the major plan, to wake up with that I wasn't neutral in myself. So I was kind of using all my own fuel, eating myself as like an organism. It's, I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, we're going to call on you, Mary Jo. Yeah, let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My name's Mary Jo, but a lot of people call me MJ if that's easier. And I think this dojo is great. I absolutely love it. I think all you guys are great. And I've watched a lot of James's videos, which are awesome. And just to make a long story short, all of last year, I dealt with stage 3 colon cancer. I had 11 rounds of chemo, 2 surgeries, and it's a miracle I'm alive. I had blood transfusions and all this. I didn't think I would be here. And so I don't have, I know this is like TMI, but like it's really relevant. I don't have a colon anymore and I don't wear a bag. So they just took up your small intestine. And my point is that what we're talking about with the energy intake, with food, with the people you're around, the media, everything, it's really when you don't have a colon, you're sensitive to everything that comes in. And I just can tell you that you learn really quickly. You really learn quickly when you, after going through all that, you become sensitive to different things. And what you guys are talking about is so relevant. It felt like the videos or just watching you guys on the videos were talking directly to me sometimes. So I'm happy to be here. Anyway.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was, I saw you kind of, and I was like, I'm so glad you spoke up. And please keep coming back and speak up again. And
oh, I will.
My heart. Yeah.
And Lori, what you were just saying about generational healing. So, my colon cancer is genetic, is a genetic mutation. It's called Lynch syndrome. And I can tell you that it has a lot to do. You even said if you don't get rid of it, it balls up. Well, I mean, that's like what a tumor is. So everything was quite literal for me, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting that you even aligned to do that work for the 7 generations? And like, because we're in this kind of magical age where you have the metaphysical plus a pretty evolved medical experience that you can go through and still stay metaphysical. You can get the whole, enchilada.
Yeah.
And have the experience to do that work for those generations.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm doing it.
Right on. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay, Yesenia, unless anyone else has when I popped in on that. Okay, go ahead, Yesenia.
Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Yeah, when I hear the whole destruction and then reconstruction, I think Autoros, the snake, and it just resonates like with me. This whole year has been constantly like, here's something great, and then grieve the past. And then if I also look back a whole year, I'm exactly in the same spot, just on a higher altitude of the mountains, which makes me see how cyclical life really is. It's not this linear thing that like I typically have wanted to believe. Um, but it's really hard with the whole doubting myself because I see it's like a mirror. When people doubt me, that's actually my self-doubt manifested as a person looking at me. And I feel that all the time whenever, like, for instance, at work, I've only been there for 2 months, but I feel like I'm pretty much excelling at my job, and I could feel people staring at me, and it's like it kind of paralyzes me sometimes. Like, how do I work through it? How do I realign? How do I understand that I'm really just looking at myself? And how do I turn it into maybe a self-applause rather than
Absolutely
it
not.
being like, like a disruption in my field? But that's what I have so far. Thanks.
Well, I really, again, relate to that, Yesenia. I remember doing that rebirth show that was all about snakes. We're in the year of the snake. And I think I shared on Dojo that, and I'm working through this thing now, of course, but at that time, getting that much witness and having that much people looking at me, I was really uncomfortable. And it was the thing I wrote in, like, why are you trying to look for the approval, but when you get it, you can't handle it? It was a really interesting experience. And I can't wait to hear how you alchemize that one. Because I think we do sabotage ourselves in order to get back into a comfortable zone. And do we really need to do that? I mean, that's like the question, you know. I don't think we do, but
It's pretty complex because if you think about it like facets of crystals, that when you're alone, you're going to approach yourself from a facet. Either I'm approving of myself right now, or I'm very stringently unapproving of myself. And there's all these facets in between, of course. And then when you're with other people, it's the same thing, but there's a lot more surprise to it. You are surprised that someone has a facet on you where you're reliable, where you're where your shit's together, where it's not. And so we tend to go out and engage in social situations for uh, very uh, dishonest reasons. We're actually looking for our own facets. We find people interesting because they are showing us a facet of ourselves that either we've had trouble finding or we've never been able to find before. So this is why people blow smoke up your ass. This is why people gaslight you. This is also why people leave shitty comments. Everyone's doing it for exactly the same reasons, which is that they know that socially you're that they know that deep down inside of you, you are a selfish animal that is pursuing a facet of yourself that you are addicted to, that you cannot say no to, that you will respond to in a very animalistic way. You will bite at it. And whether it be you will seize it and go, this is mine, because someone's given you praise, or because someone's found a flaw in you and you were so insistent that that flaw is not there. You're still, but what's really important, if the deeper part of yourself, is your ability to be transponded from your location into an animalistic state could hurt you or help you depending on your current uh part. So there's no fucking way to look at this as a moral sort of, oh, you're acting very appropriately, or oh, you're acting there's no fucking way you're ever going to be able to map it that way. It's all creativity. You're in the half pipe. Some of you maybe don't skate, but it's like you're in the half pipe. This is the moment. You're on the rink. That's all it is. It's an opportunity for pure grace. that play state where you simply exercise your creativity to either express or go to a place that deep down you want to be. And until we can admit that, we're going to have trouble understanding the drama, because we will shit on the drama. We will say the problem is drama, and that's not the problem. The problem is understanding your appetite underneath. The drama means you care. The drama means you give a shit. The drama means you think that the moment deserves more fork, not less. We should be eating this moment. That's what drama means, right? And I I want to eat every moment. I want that cheesecake in my teeth. I want it squeezed out the sides of my mouth every fucking time. And I will starve if I don't get it. I will create drama if I don't get it. I will bring you in to my incinerator if you try and take it away from me. This is ultimately who I am. I don't have friends. I don't have acquaintances that I work. I am constantly seeking this facet. It's a tentacle. Talk about this. If you can admit that you have tentacles, you're going to love yourself more. If you can admit that you have slimy tentacles and you've been living in a world where you insist everyone else has tentacles but me, if you can understand this, if you can truly understand this, you'll be more willing to see when they are out and when they're doing things. And you can fall in love with that. It's Sid and Marty Krofft, man. It's the little seaweed monster dudes they're adorable. These guys are great, and we just have to. I think this is what we're doing ultimately. I don't mean to say that it's all just about that, guys, but I'm saying if you insist that it is all just about that, I think you really do understand what's at the base of that word prawn economy, because it allows you to understand that underneath it all, there's a base root. Just this is a fucking train. It needs fucking coal. Doesn't fucking give a shit where the mountain comes from, who put it there. Who the fuck cares? Put coal in train. It's like that, you know? And so it's not like you need to notice. It's not like you have to make sure that you bleach your asshole of all these things, right? That's not it. You're actually, some people think it's it, and I hate those people, despise those people, because it ruins the cheesecake. It takes us back into this weird fluorescent realm, right? Where we're pretending to disclose, and the only way we can disclose is by eliminating all things that we're ashamed of disclosing, like truly eliminating them, you know? That's why talking to yourself is such a. So wait, why is this bad again? What? It's the sort of the same kind of genre. Um, that's all I got.
Thanks, James. Okay, you see, we've got Renee up next.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on some things that, as a parent, you're just a person growing up, you have these experiences, or you see a video, or you like for example, I would see these kids who are pretty marked up from cutting themselves, right? I'd be like, wow, what would their wow, that's pretty out there. What would their parents like? What would happen if I were that parent? And then I became that parent. So when you earnestly question something like, wow, what would that feel like? You're gonna kind of have it happen to you. I'm just saying it's kind of worked out for me in that way when I haven't been judgment about it. I've just been like wondered, or like, what would happen if you had to make a Sophie's choice? If you had to choose a child to live or die, like we've seen that movie, right? What would that feel like? I kind of know what that feels like now. So just the those things that you thought you wanted to experience, like ethereally, how could this ever come into my field? But when it comes into your field, you go, oh, this is why this is here. Because I was curious, because an ancestor maybe went through this in a different way, that this is now how I will experience what this feels like, as society will shun or judge or whatever. So I'm just here to say that sometimes those things you think about will happen to you. And it's really a gift. It seems kind of scary, but it's really kind of set up to bring you up to the mat and play that shift out. that experience. So that's just kind of a personal thing I've been noticing about how I process certain things in my life and how intense they get. Because we're in a very intense time. We've got a couple hundred years plus left. So this is all coming in to be felt really intensely. So that's what I got. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Renee. Was relating to James's facets of the crystal, and then going out and doing crystal technology out in the other facets world. And I think our children are facets like of another kind of unique crystal, because it's like 50% you and then 50% of another. And then you're alchemizing that. And then the egg doesn't even come from you. It's really your mother's egg. I'm like, oh gosh, it's the whole thing is bizarre. And then you write this thing in and you're like, well, that was really what I wrote in. And I thought, well, all these facets out there in the world, they're all, symbiotes looking to feed on something. Like we're all just little little piranhas, like feeding on each other. I'm going to just give a little lay down. I stopped going to this Science of Mind group and then I went back and I realized when you get to a different level, you're going it isn't about anyone else. It's like where your facet is, where your tentacles are. And then I was like, I was able to witness something I couldn't see before. I know maybe this is going to be really bringing it out there, but I don't really think everyone's 100% human. There's some things that are like, I was able to see it, but I was judging it before, and now I'm not judging it. I'm going, oh, it's perfect. But it's definitely weirder than you could possibly imagine. And it's fun too. But nobody's immune from the feeder being the prey or the predator. Everyone's playing in the crystal garden of prey and predator out in the world, either and there's no thing as unconditional love. It's like it's just like it's like a deal. You make a deal, and I think the only thing, like, be with children, you have this kind of other little thing that goes on, but even that can be conditional, if you don't, it's uncomfortable if you had to do a Sophie's choice. So anyhow, all right, that was my little rant. Go ahead, Yesenia.
Yeah, just to continue, because like I'm gonna tell a different story, but similar premise on the drama. Like, there was someone in my life recently that like a year ago, you asked me about them, I wouldn't live without them. But fast forward a year, I'm like, we're good. We don't have to. I took your advice on previous dojos and I went no contact, just so that, and you know what? You're right. I come back and it's just like this apathy about me. So my question, which I guess maybe I'm answering it, maybe this dojo will answer it after I listen to it again, is about respect, like standing up for your self-respect. Is that a part of the drama? Is that a part of playing? Is that you taking it too seriously? Because I don't know, like that's basically very important to me, like how you treat me, how you respect me, how you value me. That's gonna proportionally like affect how much I'm gonna have you around me.
I think if you're at the top of the crystal and you're looking down, and there's a facet that shows you all of the facets within yourself. If you want to look at it through that facet, then you were looking for a prana economy of apathy from someone because you knew this would finish you. You knew that it would be exactly the relationship that you needed to get where you are now. So that's like the top facet, the way of looking at that. The other is to just look into I see you, you see me, you have value, I have value, and then you guys exchange. And the exchange is going to be either before the relationship, you had less value, you met this person, now you have more value about yourself, and that was a pranic exchange. And the exchange would look like, hey, I'm done with you, or you're done with me, or It would even look like you seeing apathy from them. It would very much correctly look that way from your perspective. However, none of us, including you, maybe you, really know exactly what the prana economy was for you when you went in, and for them when they went in, especially for them when they went in. It's easier to see the end result. At the end, you get to decide, well, which one of us got more fish flakes? Because clearly that's the person that we're going to dump on and say they're the bad person. And the person that got less fish flakes, they're the victim. And this is how many of us will leave a relationship. We will literally create an excuse. We don't have the courage to leave the relationship ourselves. So we have to make sure that we get shit on so that we can build up enough courage to break it off. So we will set up situations where we hope that they will start to cheat on us. I'm just telling you, this is what we do. Or we will cut off certain things that we know deep down are crucial, but we will pretend that we are ignorant. We will say, how am I supposed to know what this person is thinking? We'll say shit like that, like in public. We'll say that phrase in public. How am I supposed to fucking know what my best friend is thinking? Like psychopaths will use language like that. And we'll build ourselves up and say, look how clean and stringent I am. How the fuck am I supposed to know what they're thinking? And we've created this beautiful setup that gives us something that we don't know what we're looking for. We're children making shit out of Play-Doh. If we make it look like a carrot enough, we're going to eat that carrot. Then we're going to complain that the universe fucking lied to us. And then as we're crying, it's going to put this salt into the Play-Doh carrot. Then we're going to start eating it again. We're going to be wondering what we were just talking about. Like that, just more intelligent. Do you know what I mean? Like just that, but just with fancy doilies and like silverware. You know what I mean? It's just, and if you can look at yourself this way, I think it puts you into flow state. I think it puts you back into play because you kind of realize you don't really have a choice. You don't really have a choice at this point. You really are only have how much fun am I having? And if you have a human body, how much fun I'm having is directly relational to how much fun other people are having when you're around them. You just can't help it. It's just built into the liver. Like it's just symbiotic feedback. So if you were to try and isolate and live alone, you actually wouldn't be having fun. You would do what I do, which is I will go oversaturate. I will develop a hatred of people. It will fund my secret fuel that I can build an underground base. I will be able to run into that at the last minute, claiming that I was being attacked. Then I will have a really good fucking time for a while. And then I will have to find a way to leave because I can't take it. Because this is not sustainable. And that's as truthful as I can get with myself. You know, like I'm pretty sure it goes deeper. I'm pretty sure the tentacles are a little bit grosser than that. But this is the polite thing that I can come up with. And I don't mean that judgmentally. I really just mean it in Hades, right? You know, we're only going to see so many things is all. So we're going to see the polite things about ourselves more. That's all I got on this. It's a great topic though, Yesenia. Thanks.
Absolutely, I'm relating to it. So we have Brad's hand up. Good to see you, Brad.
Hey, good to see everyone here too. Sorry I was a little late in working, so I wasn't tuned in initially there. So I missed what y'all first started on, but continuing on the I think for me that the flow state and the fun as far as the with life and not resisting taking everything that comes as it comes, like say even the negative and even the positive and not resisting it to get into that flow state. I think that is what more often gets me to the point where I'm having fun. And for example, I think it's great being around you guys and the enthusiasm, creativity that, for example, in the room here, that inspires me, you know what I'm saying, to be creative. And that's what I enjoy about life. And that's what I think that's when I like to be with people, when I'm inspired and enthusiastic in this kind of way. And it's easy to get resentful when the folks around you don't want to have fun. So you mentioned it's directly related to how much fun the people around you are having. So if you're able to have fun, let's say in a mode, and then you're in a relationship where that's sort of facilitated for a time, and then as you grow, that the respect thing that Yesenia was talking about is the thing that really comes up for me, is because I don't need the dynamic to be like rewarding in terms of what's the word I'm trying to say, I don't need the positive feedback to say you're doing okay for me to continue playing. But sometimes what happens is it runs into a time where someone says you shouldn't be playing. That's where I'm trying to get to. And when a relationship gets to the point where it's kind of told, okay, you shouldn't be playing. And I'm not saying things don't have to get done. This is all understood. But I'm saying even in the tasks that need to be done for taking care of yourself in these kind of ways, you can get into a zen of doing those tasks. So cleaning the house, for example. True, you were mentioning that, and that being a real burden. I some years ago got into where cooking, cleaning, taking up all these things became kind of zen for me, and that became flow state and play. And so I could do that easily. And what sometimes gets hard is when I'm around other people who see life more as a burden, and then I don't want to have to take on that energy. And so that's when I think you seem like you said with the respect thing, where I found in my personal way, I've found that I do agree with Renee and James, what you're saying, that we do project these things into existence. As far as I made the situation such that they were going to disrespect me, like just completely no respect whatsoever. So I could get to that point where it was like, okay, you need to understand what this relationship is, where it's going, and maybe, let it go or grow into the next phase of what it is. Because ultimately what I want, and what, again, I think that I'm glad about, I've connected with you guys, is it's helped me. When I first started the Dojo, I was very much in a negative headspace and feeling very pessimistic and attacked. And it's not that my situation has principally changed a lot, but there's just sort of an understanding in terms of the prana economy. What I've gotten from you guys is the just saying the inspiration and all that to be okay with it. Like Yesenia, I love reading your collective diary, and I think you use vitriol very well in terms of putting it into productive outlets, and so things like that inspire me to try and do the same thing. And last thing I'll say, James, is I know you've been working on Black Eyed Club, and I am going to get that, but here's the thing: you don't have to rush. I'll wait till you get the ultimate version before I get it, so take your time, Chief. But that's all I got.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. That was I love your shares, and I really resonate. I wonder if we write them in. Like, I just had an experience where somebody came to visit here to look at my art and found something on the walls that when I first started transitioning from cardiac ultrasound person to artist person, and I made these watercolors. They're like my soul's dancing. And I always felt like I was a Creole person, and my soul's kind of like Creole. And I'm kind of Irish, Scottish looking. So they're on the walls, are naked, a woman and a man. And she just was like coming in from New York City. She does she liquidates jewelry stores that are going out of business. I don't know. It's a whole business. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I mean, that's what I have lived in this really small, tiny town, and really strange things happen here. She wanted to buy the art. And I'm like, I made that in 2002. So if you're a beyonder and you write your script in, and nobody got that art when I did it in 2002, and now it's being seen. So that's the construction part. And the destruction part is when you write the friendship in and it goes away. And you're like, well, or you put the boundary up to grow in a different way. And then there's a leveling up, and so anyhow, it's kind of like when I'm kind of seeing, once you get into that comfortable level of that balance of the construction destruction, and like what James said, it does have this movement to it. It's not like, like this. I got it all going on, and I've done a lot of work, and you should be able to see who I am. And like, no, it's kind of like, no, it's like the authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency to how it really is what makes the flow state happen. I shared this level in that group I was telling you about, and then one of the people went out to the dance and asked me to dance, and it was a woman, and she has a partner, and it was just like, oh, would you? And we went into flow state, and I've been wanting to do that, but I've been wanting to do it from this place. I want to try this, and it was like, no, you go from this place where you're kind of like, a hot shit show, and then it's like, and then it just starts to happen, so it's like that. So anyhow, go ahead. True.
Yeah, Lori, that last insight just reminded me of when James was talking about standing on a plate when we're rigid or we're under stress versus, yeah, that's where you were. You're wobbling on the plate. That's perfect. But I just wanted to respond to Brad on that. What to get across is that situation for me is fuel for growth, like what James was saying. So it's challenging, and I welcome those challenges. The most amazing thing about being with the partner that I live with now, I really feel, based on my own experience and talking to other people in situations like this, especially when we're young, resolve partners that we select. We're here to resolve relationships with our parents or caregivers from an early flame. For example, my first wife was not resolve issues with my dad. Second was resolve issues with my mother. And Shannon is more like, I'm restanding in the energy with my father and learning to hold my posture better. Because the amazing thing about them, they have the same blazing blue eyes, the same force field. It's like Shannon is like, when Shannon is fully online, it's like Galadriel when she's off of the ring. You can see the energy. It's like, instead of a dark lord, you would have a queen. It's that kind of vibe. And so it's been very healing being in that type of energy for me and standing in it. And sometimes I break down crying, but I'm always come back stronger. So it really is the whole thing. My whole relationship is fuel for growth, and I think it's for both of us. So that's all I got.
Thank you, True. Yeah, your audio is like coming in and out, and it got pretty good at the end there. And I think we could kind of get what you were trying to say energetically. So go ahead, James.
Yeah, the main thing was fuel for just those situations are fuel for growth. That's the main thing.
If you think about, excuse me, if you think about meta identity, like MJ, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but like when I think genetic, I think there's an uber personality, an uber me living inside my genes that has their own destiny, their own things, their own facets. They're too broad for me, myself. I almost said egoic, but I'm afraid you guys might think that I'm meaning not me. But it is the egoic self. But I'm saying your entire you is your egoic self, and that there's no separation. There's just, this is you, because it's all you can contemplate. This is why I think the ego is it, because if we're going to say there's an unconscious, but it's still us, I think we just broken the laws of physics, if that makes sense. You can really only know everything else. Unconscious really would be this meta person. Do you understand? I'm just giving it the right. I'm saying this is the right person that owns this. It's not me. I have a very tiny frontal lobian concept. I'm just that one little assemblage point on a very large chain that goes up and down. And so if you can trust the world, and I don't need you to, if you can trust the world, you're going to be more susceptible to an uber consciousness that's running in your field that still is looking out for you. you understand that when you're jealous, it doesn't necessarily, it could mean, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the world's just a piece of shit and you're just here to feel bad, or that maybe through dojo or for whatever means you start to understand that jealousy is just a hunger that hasn't been requited. It's something you deserve, and this deserving would literally come from a place that's not egoically you. It's has to come from somewhere, but it's still you. So if you hate the world, then you're going to hate all those things. You would, if you're going to truly, if you're going to hate the world correctly, I'll phrase that. If you're going to hate the world correctly, and you should, if you're going to hate the world, fucking do it right, then you would have to doubt those things. You would have to insist these people are out to get you. So all the karmic things that are happening to you are just karma. That's why we have the world. What is karma? It's the world just fucking treating you like shit because you're a piece of shit. And that's karma. And you're just like, okay, so what do I do? Nothing. You just fucking suffer. You just fucking suffer. Even if you're nice, it's still you still got loads of lifetimes of things that you're gonna have to pay for. So just fucking deal with it. Versus this other idea, which is that no, that's just me. That's me knowing that if I could feel jealous right now, it would put it, that's me knowing if I would feel cheated right now, that I would stand up for myself. That's me knowing if I would feel jealous right now, I might expect more. That's me knowing that if I clean this table, even though I find Zen in cleaning, that I'm actually being cannibalized by all these other ingrates. All these things are a meta you that's working on you. It sees you as a slave. It sees you as a carrot donkey, kind of dumbass. No, no offense, but kind of a dumbass. Literally thinks the entire world is right here, you know, and that they understand their own motivations. Oh, of course, I know exactly what all my facets are. Oh, you know, and it's cute. Guys, it's cute. It's okay. But there's this other part that sees more, but you can't be conscious of it. You don't want to be conscious of it. You're not going to be able to be here this close to things and be thinking in terms like that of 300, 400 years. There's your beyonder right there. It's you, but it's you looking at you from 400 year scope, right? So it's riding the same DNA chain as you are, but instead of it being here, it's here. Okay. This is easy. What I just told you is easy. You and I have had concepts like this before. Maybe some people might struggle with what we're saying because of their cosmology, and fine. This is why I do my show, honestly. If people weren't struggling, they wouldn't find this interesting. But we've never gone from here to fucking here. From the whole fucking thing. You can't do that because the whole thing is never going to think anything is ever wrong, is it? Your entire genetic line, if it was conscious, would everything's fucking perfect. What are you kidding? We are zooming. We got 17 knots. We got winds out of the west. We're cutting through this fucker bitch. Look at this jet stream. What are you kidding? And then you're like, but there's a storm. It's like, I know, it's great. Look at the storm. Oh my God. Lightning. Oh my God. It's going to hit our boat. I know. It's going to totally fucking crash. You kidding? This is an important part of the plot. This is fucking crucial. Oh, look at that. We're drowning. Look at that. Look at that. There's no tension on the string. There's no sound being plucked because everything's just fucking fine. So you're not going to want to be here, there. You're not going to want to be there, and stuck in time. You're going to fucking hate it. You're going to hate it because everything's just fine. Everything's just fine. And you're not going to fight for anything. You're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be motivated to miss. You're not going to throw your last shot and almost make it, and then have 8 centuries go by, and then have yourself remembering that same pain and unwrap it like a piece of candy and use it to solve something that's happening now, right? All that is gone. All that is gone because you wanted to know it all. All that is gone because you wanted to have a rational seizure, a claw-clenching grip over what was going to happen to you. So this flow state is not, it's not just a psychology. It's literally the only way to survive. You're doing it anyway. You're just not having fun. You're doing it anyway. The only thing different, the only thing that I am bitching about is that you're not having fun. Do you understand? This is, you have to understand that it's that. Because if you walk away going, "Oh, I'm not doing it right. Oh, I'm not living in flow state," you're already falling for that. I see it all. You're already falling for this magical formula that you're able to live outside of flow state. I mean, that you're somehow inside this little shell able to omniscify yourself to such a larger degree. Stop. It's not even going to help. It's going to take you to a room that's going to feel like shit. You're not going to want, and everyone here is saying you need to go there. Everyone here is insisting you have to pretend that what's here is everything. And as soon as you do, you get a mortgage. You get a mortgage and a parking space and commas on your check. And all you got to do is pretend like you know it all. Whoever pretends they know it all the most wins the most commas. That's a world game. It's on like I said, it's not broken. This is what they're playing on the playground. That's all. What else are they going to play? It's kind of a cool game. It's actually a cool game, right? Because it's not broken. There's that state. There's that state you want to find. And you're going to want to find other people that have it long before you try and master it yourself. Just find them. Don't worry about it. Just find them, you know? Like once you know that you're onto that nugget, you don't even pay attention to other people anymore. You're in the corner. You're like, no, I've almost got it. So don't, you know. So all of social interactions I've just told you are this. We just don't know. Like we just don't quite know that this is really what we're doing, you know. And it gets easier that way. I don't want you to go feeling as cheated as I used to feel when someone would tell me basically that I needed to relax, that the situation that I was just telling you about really hurts and that now I just need to let it go. I want you to understand that no, that unrequitedness is important, but it's constructive. That's all. It's just as valid. It's just constructive. It's just as real. It's just constructive, right? The constructivity is that meta self, right? Because you're fine that you're happy, but the meta self isn't happy. You know why? Because you had cookies last night. You had too many cookies last night. And your meta self is like, "Ugh." But your mini self is like, I was having such a good time, man. Just cramming those cookies. It's just like that. And this is why it's so beautiful that we have things like digestion, why we have things like alcoholism, why we have things where we become addicted to things over 72 8-hour period, where most men, I bet you, find that they have some. I'm sorry, I don't mean to eliminate just to men, but I say men because I don't think they'd be able to admit this. Most men probably have some sort of sweet tooth where at some point during the day they have to stop and just go eat something sweet. But this is never really like planned or written into the truth of who we are. It's quite the opposite. We just cover it over with Hades, with all these lies, with all these things that we tell ourselves other ways. A cheeseburger is full of just sugar. Ketchup is a sugar. The mustard they put on there is a sugar. It's just the mayonnaise is a sugar. The bread is a sugar. It's just an excuse to have an ice cream cone. But we're not really in the point where we're ready for that, you know? And this is what I mean by addiction. I'm sorry to keep going here, but seriously, this is why I wrote Principles of Addiction, because the problem is not that you have an appetite. The problem is you're not having fun. The problem is you're not having fun during the appetite. That you push the hook in. Push the hook in. You've been caught by God on a fucking string, and he's pulling you from a realm you've never experienced before. This is fucking amazing, right? It's amazing. It's just a different way of looking at it. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks.
Hell, that was awesome. I was like kind of taking notes just a little bit because I want to get the hook in more. I wasn't having fun. And I just wanted to say we have maybe we have about 25 minutes, and we have a whole bunch of people here that haven't, if you want to, we'd love to hear you say hey, or, whatever. It's up to you. And we have Brad's hands up.
Yeah, I was just going to add to the on the flow state conversation and all that, the things that help and I think hurt. And a lot of that coming into the world, and this is where, religion, I think, gets a big nod, or in that mentality of the sins and the negatives. And the thing is, when we're born, the innate drives and desires we do have are there. And so when we have the world and society in different ways saying these are right and these are wrong, getting to where I think we've got to here, where it's like accepting all that it's not wrong, given permission to do all these things is obviously a stalwart to flow state. If you're worried about those things, it's also the worrying about tied into that the state of the world, politics, and things like this. So I've gotten to where it's like I don't know what's going on in politics anymore. And I used to engage at that level, and this is years and years ago, but really try to know, kind of as you're talking about, James, being at that level where you know everything. So to try and know everything that's coming and what the moves are and this, that, and not understanding at the time that is, as you said, the furthest thing from flow state, because it's given ourselves almost a responsibility, like, and this is not a new idea, but yes, that we're supposed to fix things. We have a responsibility. Here's the greater, and that leads into the idea that we actually have some agency here that we don't necessarily really have to that degree. When you talk about the meta with what's running beyond us, it's like and this goes into the idea of you guys, what you think between free will and destiny, but worrying about destiny and things like this, or free will, again, it doesn't even matter if you're in flow state, because you're not in that sort of way. You're just not worried about anything, and you can't be in flow state if you're worrying about these things. So it's just been a very freeing thing to kind of let go of all those things and stop, because it also, in terms of trying to reach, let's say, a higher spiritual plane or do spiritual work, right, and become a beyonder, because even in that, like, I think it's okay to play these little games in our mind, I've said it, but what I'm saying is the same way. It's like you can make a plan, but don't get lost in I'm not trying to say it's bad to have goals. I think you hear what I'm saying, but stay in the moment of the play and know that whatever life is unfolding or unraveling, it's already there. That's where the fun's at, right? Yeah. Like you said, I know we all know this. If you knew every step of the way, you knew what was coming tomorrow. If I knew exactly how everything was going to happen, it probably wouldn't be no fun, which is probably why in the philosophical sense, the omniscience, the unconditional love of God in that sense, would be something that would be cyclical, in the sense of what often said, that once you reach that state, you just want to forget everything and enjoy the mystery again.
Yeah.
So anyway,
if you, it's kind of profoundly paradoxical, but coming from someone who really wanted to change the world, it's bittersweet to hear you remind me that you really can't, because I think that's a very important part of the wisdom, crucial part. And it doesn't change what I'm getting ready to say. I think first you have to go there. You go there to that place. Then you go, oh, wow, look at this. It really is a larger, it's a river that's I'm not going to change. It's a river that I'm submerged in on purpose. It's not broken. And the moment that you realize that, you start to change everything around you starts to change. And it blows me away, Brad, because it's paradoxically true. From the moment you realize that, I think you start to understand it really is about, this isn't the right phrase, but it really is about, am I having fun? It really is about, what is my personal posture on the raft? That whatever that is. And I don't mean it as everyone has to have fun. Some people it's very noble to not have fun. Please hear, I swear that's true. This feeling, though, of letting go is absolutely paramount to you starting to exercise your torque on the world. And it's exactly counterintuitive, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
completely counterintuitive. And it happens through resonance posture. Someone sees you on the raft and you're just having I'm using it again, a good time. Forgive me, it's not the best analogy, but they see you having a good time and it's addicting because you're losing less calories.
Well, what if I may add also not in just having a good time, but like, let's say the situation is stressful, but you're not freaking out about it.
Yeah,
Would
you're
that
in
make
flow
sense in the
state.
same regard?
Great example would be sailing. It's I would not have a good time if we were sailing across the Atlantic Ocean and I was not helping in some way. I would be having an awful time. If I felt that my duties were crucial to us making this journey, I would be having the fucking time of my life. I would be fully engaged. I would be in full immersion into that moment. That's what I mean by saying, I'm not saying you're having fun because this fun is very different for very different people. If I go to a play, I understand that I'm probably supposed to have more fun by being in the audience. I understand that. But I swear, if you just let me fucking sweep the floors and paint one set, I'm having more fun in the back. I'm having more fun, right? So I know that I'm not the only. This is what I mean by it. Just depends on on how you define that stuff. That's all.
So I was kind of making the analogy of fun or pain, and pleasure and pain being related. So it's like if you can get into the hurts and have fun in it, that's going to be like, I was thinking of the intro and, the little girl on the roller coaster. Like, and, it's terrifying being strapped onto a roller coaster, especially when when you're going tick, 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 and you're not in control. And I love the paradox of being the person that came to save the world. And why can't you see me? And why don't you, why are, it's like the whole guru thing. I think it's like, it's done. And, people having programs to give you something because you're broken is done. I think I might have said this on here, but my daughter told me I had more self-help books than Barnes and Noble. I've been at it for a while. And I was like, well, even that, it was just like born in the time where you felt broken and you're always like looking for the self-help guru to help you get out of your, and then you go on your spiritual quest and you get all this stuff and, there is no guru, it's you. And it's like the game is staying in that flow state when in all aspects of, and I think in the destruction is actually construction. So thanks, James. Your hand's up. Go ahead.
Actually, I just got so into listening to you, I forgot what I was going to add. I will say that even the self-help movement is really just the rise, finally, of people deciding, hey, we should probably look at ourselves more, and to have that look insulting now is just proof that we've accomplished that we we accomplished it so much that now it's considered, hey, well, you got all these self-help books around. So, mission accomplished. Last week I was invited to do an interview like a month ago with a guy named Sam, a good guy, runs a show called Weaponized News. And it's been a while since we've talked, like since my Blueprints of Mind Control days. And so we get on the show and I'm just not giving him the goodies that he wants, and he's just constantly like, well, what about this? Here's China. Look, they're hiring intelligence people that are going to stalk you and right on. And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds cool, man. He's like, what do you mean? It sounds, and I just kept blowing it. I kept blowing it and I was really letting him down. And I'm honestly, it's kind of moving this into a topic. I'm kind of worried about that because I just don't, I do not give a shit right now about that stuff. I haven't been doing live streams, and I feel really bad. I can do this. I can kind of riff like this, but I just haven't been in the same place just right now. I don't think it's permanent. I just think right now I'm just not in that zone of let me bring you a compartmentalized show about something. I really wish I was. I do love what I do. Um, I'm in this precipice though with this book where I just I don't like how I don't like how much my body hurts because I've been trying to cram in like 50 days. Like I was just thinking about it, if you just like broke down the number of pages I have, then it's like 50 columns. I kind of need to write like 50 columns. And it takes me like a day to write a column, sometimes 3 days. And so I'm trying to cram like at the very minimum 50 to 150 days into a really short, like first I thought I could do it in like 5 days. And then that went into like 2 weeks. And I just yesterday, because it was my birthday, I like stopped working and I slept for like 13 hours again. It's just that's how it's just been. I'm just so addicted to this creative process. And I'm hurting all my other responsibilities, including to you guys in the show. Um, and I need you to know I can't stop right now. I was really trying to stop today. I was really trying to just finish over the weekend. And I thought I sat down to do my final read on Friday. I thought I was sitting down to do my final read where everything's just ready. And it's no, it's not, it's awful. I don't mean that critically. It's just, I'm just saying it's not, I couldn't put it out. And so my final read is, I'm now over halfway through the final read, in which I've not just read it, but I've been like, oh my God, I have to fix this or I'll forget it. So I'm halfway through that process. And I would imagine that because of how much I've changed, probably gonna need to do another reread again. So I'm not there yet. And I I'm not happy about it. Uh I can't stop though either. I don't think you guys, I'm not trying to set this up where you guys were like, oh, we don't, forgive me. I'm just trying to tell you that uh, I think this week I need to do Monday dojo and Friday dojo and not do anything else. And it's possible that this is what hurts me when I tell you this. I don't know if this is true. It's possible that I would be finished with this reread by Friday. And then if so, then I would be ready for the actual reread, which is I just need to be all I have to do is just sit down and read the book once and not freak the fuck out. That's all I have to do. And I've done that before. I've done that with columns where, I if I can read it twice and I haven't been bothered by something or I don't feel like something's missing or something. It's more like missing is what it is. Um, I'm just not there. It's very difficult. uh, I think in a lot of ways the AI's made it harder because it's um, taught me what a redneck I am when it comes to writing, like techniques. There's something called a narrative monologue. There's a soft narrative monologue. Then you have a constructive monologue. Then you have it's then you have the way that you approach the way you structure your characters. You get to actually put underlying like the pinnings. You get to actually have personality too. So the way you pin a character, you can. It's very brilliant. It's very out of my league. I'm very just like I just thought you took the toilet and put berries in and put sugar in and just wrapped it, and then you just didn't pee in there, and then you came back in 3 weeks and you had toilet wine. Like that's where that's kind of where I feel like I'm at. And uh so that's what May's going to look like. It's May's probably going to just look like this. I don't have to do the next book right now. I don't feel that writing means that I always have to do it full time, but when you're trying to construct the plot, you have to memorize 50 essays at once and keep them in your head, and it's really hard. And my excuse before was it's too hard, so here's I'm done. And the AI has removed that because literally I can say, "Hey, tell me everything Lita said since May 5th," and it's like it tells me, here's I can't get away with that. I have something. So that's going on. I haunt myself a lot because of the patron setup. It haunts me a lot. I'm not trying to shoot myself in the foot. Please let's keep haunting me. I think I'd be able to do this without, but I'm just telling you that these are things that are sometimes tricky to bring up and talk about. And I don't like that I couldn't have seen this sooner and told you like a week or two ago and been like, look, I honestly thought that the redo last week was, I don't know how I got myself in such a fantasy that it was so much more finished. It's it's shown me uh a little bit more about my perspective over myself. In my mind, this book is so amazing and so awesome, and then there's the actual book, and I really want those to be the same fantasy. Yeah, I want that to feel exactly the same. I have also, I hope I don't sound like I'm making excuses. I'm just kind of giving you a report. I also have zero writer's block. There's nothing. I have zero problems getting back to work. I have problems stopping work. I have problems telling you 3 days from now at noon, I will be alert and functional and ready to be seen in public. Those are the things. I have zero block. I have nothing but I have to fix this. I got to fix this. I get to fix this. How can I make this? It's all that. Um, it's pure flow.
Can I
It's
just jump in real quick, James?
screaming out of the end of the paintbrush. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just for what it's worth, because I understand the creative process and when you're engaged in something. But I just want to say, just for me, I feel like you put a lot of pressure on yourself that not necessarily coming. I don't want to de-haunt you or anything, but it just sounds like you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and I do not. I don't feel like you're shirking responsibilities or anything like that. And go ahead and say the dojo here. When I joined Patreon, this wasn't even part of it, so this was bonus. You know what I mean? But that was it.
Thanks, James, and a happy May the 4th be with you. And I think the process of going critical to the editor is universal and part of the process, and acknowledging I just want to be done. I acknowledge that too. So we do have 3 hands raised, and we have about 5 minutes left, 7 minutes left. So we'll be mindful. We have MJ next, and then Sarah, and then Pi.
I just wanted to say I heard that interview on Weaponized News and I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic because the guy that was interviewing you, he kept asking you, he kept wanting you to go in a certain direction and you didn't stop. You just kept with your stuff. And then he just said, I don't know if we're ready to be blackpilled like that, James. Do you remember when he said that? So you didn't, you, I thought it was fantastic and you just straight up told him. So I thought it was a great interview. And the second thing I wanted to show you, well, you were talking about just we're part of this soil, like the field of the earth, the way that things unfold, even though it's so fucked up, like the politics part and stuff, and the old Aztec gods. And I just wanted to show you because we're talking about perspectives. This, can you see this bismuth I have? This is bismuth. Can you see how it grows? Like, and like, look at this side of it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it absolutely is beautiful and fractal, no matter how you look at it. So, I don't know. I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love that. It was like a castle in the sky. So let's go ahead. Sarah? No, I don't hear you. You're muted. No, still muted. Maybe we'll let Pi go and let's see if Sarah can get it figured out.
It's good to see you, Sarah. See if you can get it going. But yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I don't hear you, Pi.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a lot going through my mind right now, trying to take what everyone said and apply it to my own life, and trying to sum it up in some type of archetype that makes sense. And I just remembered that we have this sunken garden, had this statue with I never knew what it was, and it was very evocative. There's a woman with a big trumpet, holding a wreath, and, only to find out that it's Fema or Fama, like in the Roman, the goddess of, I don't know what she's, the goddess of reputation, and the daughter of Gaia, and Elpis. I might have that wrong, but that's the goddess of earth and hope, and kind of similar to the pedestal and the pit. Like her favor brings notability, and her wrath, will bring like a bad reputation. And I feel like I've been struggling with this because, I wanted to help people. I knew I could help people, and I felt like that opportunity was taken away from me. So I felt very victimized for a long time, in that regard, without realizing it. And it's very difficult when you want to help people, and it starts with a whisper, they say. She starts it with a whisper. You're never going to catch it, and the next thing you know, you're in this place of bad reputation. You can't, what's the goal? Are you trying to retain or regain some position of notability? Are you trying to cultivate favor? I guess I'm thinking about, like, Facebook and social media and how things work. Like, here we can talk to people and we can see each other. There's a little bit of a difference than just text. It's like you can't really have any kind of a real discussion or disagreement, just typing things very well, right? It's a little bit ungainly. And I'm not really dealing with the world at large. I'm just dealing with my world around here. And so, you know, if you're, I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, I'm trying to relate that to prey and predator and prey. You might think, somebody might think you're the prey, but then they're calling you dangerous, you know, like back in the 2020, you know, everything I said, people were calling me dangerous. And I'm like, what the fuck you're calling me dangerous for having a discussion about this? It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so, you know, I took kind of a firm stance and just ended up with, you know, at least socially, no friends. But I just kept, you know, I still find enjoyment in the things I do, even though like my chance to be the guy painting a prop or helping, you know, I felt like that was taken away from me purposely. But then that reputation starts to build up, you know, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's a guy, he lives over in that mountain. We don't want to go there, you know, but we're not prey, but we're going to stay away from there. But we're going to go as a group. We're a predator, you know. It's like would a lion go into a giant pit of like 50 hyenas, you know? Would you, right? Who's the prey and who's the predator? You know, you can think you're still the predator, but you're not, right? Those things can switch around quite easily. But anyway, I don't really have a point. These are just the things that were going through my mind, and I was comparing it to that. You know, I finally realized what that statue was. It's the statue of FEMA. And
it's also Revelation, Pi. I think that statue also symbolizes like an apocalypse too, believe it or not. She's blowing the apocalypse, the horn of apocalypse, and she's celebrating it. Is also part of that archetype, which is fascinating that FEMA chose that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's all I had to say. I'm just, you know, trying to ruminate on everything here, and that's what I was thinking. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Pi. Well, we had Sarah who had a problem with the mic, and we did have Alex hands up, but we're out of time, and we do have the Patreon channel, and I love when people share if they didn't get to share here. Please, you know, put your thoughts and whatever's on your heart there, because it's a good place to be witnessed as well. So I think that's it for today. And James, good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Go back in your flow.
Thanks for the support. I appreciate it, guys. Seriously, it's a dream come true. Let's all unmute and say goodbye. Great job.
Bye, everybody. Great seeing y'all.
Happy Monday.
Bye.
See you next time.
Monday, guys.